All right, welcome into hour two. Let's see if this one can go a little bit smoother here. This report is sponsored by the Jim Buttrell Real Estate Team. The Padres, after 7 straight wins, they lose to the Orioles last night 6-8. But even with that loss, Padres had a very, very nice road trip. They went 7-2 over the last 9 games. They're now sitting 6 games over 500, and the Padres have acquired right-handed reliever Jason Adam from the Rays. Olympics underway out in Paris. U.S. leads the medal count with 12. United States There we go. Now I'm back. Can you hear me, Fletch? Hang on.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
Woo! Technology.
Yeah, listen.
Look at you guys.
I don't know where the music is, Fletch.
Yeah, you're gonna need to tell us live on air. How do we get our royalty-free music going?
I have to open up my mail again since I logged in now to Fletch's password because mine did not have
I
access
want you to
to any
look deeply into Fletch's O drive.
Yeah.
That's what we called the drive where they keep a lot of things around this building. I've never actually seen inside of the O drive, but I hear it's really nice.
It's really good.
And eventually they clear it out.
Yeah.
Lots of grannies on mine.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Hey, buddy, so how's vacation going so far? I see you drinking out of a big red coffee mug. Are you tired? You jet lagged? What's going on?
No, we're feeling great, man. We spent a bunch of time on lake number 5. They got a number of the lakes out here because there's so many of them. And jet skied, pontooned, had a bunch of brats, had a bunch of beers. We're doing it right out in Wisconsin now, and then we'll be in Michigan tomorrow.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Did you bring your dog Brock along?
No, he's chilling in San Diego in a big backyard, having a way better life than he has when we're usually there. But
Nice.
turns out, guys, the lakes here, they call them the Great Lakes. Not sure if you've heard of them. They're really big.
Yeah.
They're like an ocean.
You're saying like when they named them the Great Lakes, it wasn't just a clever name. They're actually pretty great.
No, it's like you cannot see across the lake. First of all, they have waves that are like 6 feet high. It's kind of insane.
Oh, wow. Freshwater waves.
Yeah.
Never would have thought of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually doing a lake trip this weekend also. We did a whole lot of fishing. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, my ass is sore. Not from the fishing.
What the hell happened?
No, from sitting on the dock.
Richie.
From sitting on the dock.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't talk about vacation, Rich. Things get weird.
Hardwood against your buns. You know how that goes.
Did
Same
you
old
catch anything?
song
Were
and
you
dance. Oh my
close?
God. We caught a lot of fish.
Nice.
We caught a lot of fish. Fletchy, thank you for your help this morning. Safe travels to you and Kendall. Say hello to everybody out there in the Midwest.
Yeah, Trav, just go to my wall on Next Gen, and then Fletch 5 has a rotation of 6 royalty-free songs that you can play.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the wall.
Things that are my favorites. Fletch 5, Lake number 5, and also Mambo number 5.
Yeah. All right, bye, guys.
All right, bye.
See you later, buddy.
Wow.
There goes. Fletch is off of the StreamYard link, so he is going to enjoy the rest of his vacation while we're here sweating it out on the Big Rich TD and Fletch program.
Did he first discover that he's in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that has a lot of lakes.
Yes.
Yes, just
Yeah.
right now.
Dude, if there's one thing that I know from talking to him, geography not his thing. Like if you told him to find Wisconsin on the map right now, if he took out a country map, there's no way he would be able to point to the state he's currently in.
I have opened up the wall as he has requested. There's 7,000 items on here.
I say just start clicking through all of them. Just start firing them. I want to hear every single wall item before Fletch returns.
I don't know what's going to happen. I can guarantee you a lot of this is not royalty free.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain.
It's cool.
Yeah, this podcast can be burned anyways.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So we have a bunch of NFL news to pass along to anybody who hasn't been paying attention over the weekend because it was a busy one for a couple of teams. So Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jordan Love, all three got new contract extensions with their given teams. Matthew Stafford, obviously being the most aged of the bunch, wanted to restructure his contract to avoid a holdout. So he was threatening the Rams that, hey, you pay me and you give me some security here, or you could go ahead and find yourself a different quarterback through training camp and maybe potentially the season if this gets silly enough. And so Les Snead and Sean McVay went, okay, timeout. Wait, really? And he went, no, I'm serious. And so they went, wait, but Matthew, I thought we had a special thing going here where we pay you what it says on the piece of paper and you just come and throw the football. And he went, yeah, but I want to do this for longer. And you guys aren't paying me enough. So that's exactly what happened. Stafford got broke off a little bit there with the Rams. Jordan Love obviously played a magnificent season last year for a young quarterback, filling in for an MVP and future Hall of Famer after Aaron Rodgers moves on to the Jets. And he has his debut as the full-time starter now in Green Bay. That went really well, and so he's been compensated with an enormous contract. We'll get to the details in a little bit, but right now just want to lay that out. Tua Tagovailoa has been playing pretty good football and great football at times for the Miami Dolphins. They have now built a team around the quarterback, and they have now secured the quarterback for the next 4 seasons. So I ask you, TD, all three of these quarterbacks, all three of these teams, which team did the best? Which team did the worst, in your opinion?
Well, I think I would have to say Dolphins did the best. Where else are you going to go? You're going to have to lock him up because if you don't have Tua, who do you have? I like that deal. I think Tua played well last year. Look, he's got to stay healthy, obviously. That's always the question here with Tua. What my concern is with Tua coming to this next season is last season you said you gained weight so it would protect you and you would not get injured, and he was pretty successful. This season, he said, I dropped some weight again. So why? I mean, why would you? Why? I guess you're trying to be more nimble. I guess that's it. But I like that. I like where the Dolphins are at. I mean, Matt Stafford, cool. I think they had to cut him a check for another $5 million this year.
Yeah, it's $9 million over the next 2 seasons.
Yeah. I mean, another one. I don't know. Stafford. I don't know if I'd consider him an elite quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback in your eyes?
Yeah. Okay. So Stafford is a top 10 quarterback. Is he in the?
Is he?
Oh yeah.
No, not. Yeah. I mean, because it kind of feels like he's number 11.
No. So, well, in my opinion, I look, and I'm sure some people feel differently, and you may be one of them. I look at Matthew Stafford as being maybe just outside of the top 5. So I put him at like 6 or 7, somewhere around there. He's experienced. He's Super Bowl winning. He is elite. He has a tremendous mind for the game and arm strength. He's getting older, and he's been often injured since he's been a Los Angeles Ram quarterback. And by the way, that's a product in some ways of the viciousness of playing quarterback for the Detroit Lions while they were absolutely dreadful for so long, because he got savaged out there in Detroit for years and put up, I mean, look, he can boast some of the most ridiculous numbers of any quarterback who's ever played this game. So I do think Matthew Stafford's elite. However, what he was looking for was just a commitment. He wanted to make sure that the Rams weren't looking at him as like just a placeholder until ... whatever that means. You bring in a younger free agent, you draft a quarterback if you have a down year at some point. He wanted it to make it, he wanted have him start for them financially because there's more of a commitment there. Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, I agree with your assessment on Tua. There's nowhere else for the Dolphins to go. And frankly, for the Green Bay Packers, you didn't want this to turn into a situation where a young player is holding out on you. So they had to sign their quarterback too. I don't feel like anybody made a big glaring mistake here, because if you're going to play football at this level, eventually you're going to have to buy real estate in the expensive neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like that comparison I make all the time. It does feel like, buying a home in Beverly Hills or La Jolla or Manhattan. You're going to spend what the market says you have to spend. Now, in terms of who got the best quarterback, that's where the rubber meets the road. So these guys, in my mind, are kind of clumped near each other. I think Matthew Stafford short term. I think long term, Jordan Love is the best quarterback, although we have more film on Tua. So maybe that's the reason why I think that right now.
Well, Jordan Love came on strong, man, in the last season. And all of a sudden you go, oh, Green Bay yet again has a franchise quarterback.
But here's the reason why I think Stafford's the best, or part of the reason why I think Stafford's the best. And I think Jordan Love is probably a better signing for the Packers than Tua is for the Dolphins, because I look at it kind of in this way. Like the NFC, there isn't the logjam that the AFC presents. Like if you look at the very tippy top of the quarterback position in the NFL, look through the AFC and see what you have. You have Mahomes, you have Josh Allen, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Justin Herbert, you have Joe Burrow, you have, if he ever decides to play football well again, Deshaun Watson. Joe Flacco is hanging out there as a backup in the AFC. Are you kidding me? Anthony Richardson, by the way, is who he's backing up in Indianapolis, who's a really good young quarterback. But just think about that. The Colts have two elite quarterbacks.
Right.
But I digress to prove the point.
Joe Flacco is elite.
There's no question.
Golly.
But so that's where Tua, he's behind just about all the guys I mentioned. Maybe there were some jokes involved in there, but in the NFC, think about the NFC though. You have Jared Goff, obviously very talented, arguably one of the best quarterbacks in that conference, no doubt. Matthew Stafford is the top quarterback, in my opinion, in that conference. Brock Purdy has to be on the list of the top three. He might be just behind Matthew Stafford. And then who's next? Is it Baker? Is it Jordan Love? The pickings get pretty slim on the NFC side. Yeah,
they do. It runs out fast. You're right. Look,
is it Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles with the Falcons? It certainly isn't Derek Carr, not anymore.
No. It doesn't feel like it, at least, unless he just has a Joe Flacco comeback season, which it doesn't feel like that's going to happen either. Look, it's also crunch time. You're 30 some odd days away from the start of the season.
Yeah.
You got to lock it in, because you got to know your pieces you have in place here if you're going to put together a winning team.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We're getting down to the final days before kickoff of the preseason, which will come up later this week as the Texans will take on the Chicago Bears in the Hall of Fame game. That's how close it is. We have that game and then 3 more weeks of the preseason where we'll actually see all these teams prepare against each other before we roll into the regular season. So you've got to lock down your guys, and you got to make sure that everybody's happy or happy enough before kickoff of the season. And in the case of Tua and Jordan Love and Matthew Stafford, all three, I'm sure they're pretty pleased with the contracts they got. Now, Stafford, you mentioned he got something like a $5 million bonus this year, and he's going to enjoy, I think, another $4 million. He basically just wanted a little bit more security.
Right.
So it's not like the Los Angeles Rams had to move heaven and earth to make him happy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that was a big deal. $5 million, $4 million the next year. That seems pretty doable and actually pretty nice of him.
Tua Tagovailoa, the largest 4-year extension in the history of the NFL.
Well, that's where we're at.
So 4-year, $212.4 million contract with $167 million guaranteed.
Man, his agent did him right. Yeah, $167 million guaranteed, especially on a guy that is injury prone. Solid.
Yeah.
You have locked it up, buddy.
When he was healthy and has been, through long stretches of the last 2 seasons, they've been a very talented football team. Tua, the problem, the threat that I would say his health poses to this Dolphins team, like all quarterbacks, is when he's off the field, they look starkly different. You remember with the concussion year 2 years ago when it was like a mixed bag of like Skylar Thompson and who was the other backup who jumped in there, and they were just awful. They lost all of those games that he didn't start.
It was so bad they went, we think it's just a back thing. He's just got a back spasm, no big deal. He's gonna head on back out there. Yeah, just be cool with it.
That was weird because he was like shaking as if he was having a seizure, and then he stiffened up after the head injury.
Yeah, we rubbed some dirt on it. He's good.
Yeah, Tua said in a lot of words, like a word salad, that he was okay. And so we're just going to start him. We're going to roll the dice because we got nothing left behind him.
Yeah, I mean, we had the doctor throw a thumbs up, and he gave us, I think, a thumbs up back. And so he's clear. Solid performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Jordan Love, obviously the big deal there. It's funny how this also works. Like Tua's deal gets sort of trumped by Jordan Love's deal. And then whoever signs next, that deal is going to, because it was Trevor Lawrence and then it's Tua and then it's Jordan Love. They just keep increasing. Like, that's just the way this works.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a seller's market, or maybe, I don't know, however you want to look at the real estate market at the moment. And so when the last piece of property sells for 210, looks like yours is worth 212.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's exactly how it goes.
Especially when the Miami Dolphins have nowhere else to go.
Oh,
so I mean, it's the pickings are slim, like you just pointed out, of where you're going to pick up a quarterback. So what are you going to do except pay the money?
Well, and also you look at the draft, and you say to yourself, like, okay, well, if we stink, we'll just go to the draft and we'll get a great quarterback. Or if we're willing, we'll trade up and we'll get a great quarterback. So the question is, do you want to leverage your whole future and trade up to get a quarterback and end up like the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young? Because that's what they did. They traded with Chicago and they got themselves a first rounder, and it worked out perfectly for them because Chicago stunk and they got the first overall draft pick. And the problem was they spent it on Bryce Young, and like 37% of these quarterbacks, or I should say the opposite, like 63% of these quarterbacks, Bryce Young is going to potentially or most likely be one of them that's a bust and not a franchise guy.
Yeah.
Less than 40% of first round quarterbacks become even just a franchise quarterback, even just like a second tier franchise guy. It's that when you talk about slim pickings, it's that hard.
Right.
So when you have a Tua, you pay him. I would put it in this order though. In terms of short term, I would say it's the Rams, and then it's the Packers, and then it's the Dolphins in terms of the value of these contracts. I would say long term though, it's probably Packers, Dolphins, Rams, because the Rams, they know they have a real ripe banana at quarterback now.
Right. No kidding. You want to go into morning monologues?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Really quick though, I want to remind everybody listening, we have Foo Fighter tickets. We will have a pair of tickets we're giving away coming up anytime this hour or next. All right. So you're down to literally the last hour, 40 minutes. You can win them today. We're going to have them all week long for an August 7th show at Petco Park. Ticketmaster.com for tickets and details. But if you want to win those tickets, you got to keep listening. But first, this.
Of course, can't play media file. Listen, how about red pill, blue pill? Nope, it won't play anything. Everything's working so well. Let's try something off of here and see if this says fresh free something. Hang on.
Yeah. Like a summer breeze.
Yeah. Nothing's working now, which is super cool.
So here,
great.
Here we'll do it this way, because I'm sure your morning monologue is somewhat related to what's happening right now.
Straight up, now tell me. Nope, that's not it. No, it wasn't gonna be, but it might turn into be. Let's try this. Fresh free does not work.
Just keep clicking stuff. Hang on, what's this? Is this royalty free?
I don't know.
Emo pop?
I don't know.
Yeah, we could do it to this.
Nope, I think this is not royalty free.
Get rid of that one.
Maybe no music. Yeah, maybe we'll stop on that.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's good. So,
all right.
morning monologue.
Yeah, coming up, by the way, in just a little bit, we're going to break down one NFL scout's thoughts on what teams qualify the best to be considered Super Bowl contenders. I found this article really interesting, and we'll let you know which scout this is and his thoughts on the NFL, because there's one interesting team in there that is getting very little buzz, and I don't think they should be dogged as much as they are. We'll get to that. But first, morning monologues. TD, what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is I roll back here to the station from a New York vacation.
Yeah.
The vending machine.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's been restocked. However, the vending machine guy decided to, in the grandma's cookie section,
Go ahead.
put like 4 oatmeal raisin cookies before the peanut butter cookie, which means I would have to spend like $12 just to get to the peanut butter cookies, which I'm thinking, I'm not going to play that game. He's just going to be stuck with a bunch of oatmeal raisin cookies.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you right now.
Funny people say,
I don't know what
That's exactly what I was thinking. We are literally just,
everything is so slow.
it's so amazing. I'll tell you what, one of the worst vending machine cookies on planet Earth is the oatmeal raisin.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter what brand, and we don't have to shout out any brands whatsoever, but nobody is ever thinking in the middle of their day, like, God, all I need right now is a GD oatmeal raisin cookie. And it's just like, where can I get one? Nobody has ever walked into a break room and went, geez, fingers crossed they got the oatmeal raisins in there.
Right.
Like chocolate chip cookie, obviously it's a no-brainer.
Solid.
Peanut butter cups, like you could put as many as you could fit in that machine. People will buy them all. I don't know, Skittles. You know, like you want to go healthier side, a Nutri-Grain bar, like one of those breakfast bars with the fruit filling. You want to go healthy still, maybe granola, maybe beef jerky. Like all those things make sense, because there are honestly times in my life where I'm like, you know what, I'm actually going to make a stop. I don't even need gas, but I need beef jerky right now. So I'm going to find a gas station.
Yeah, right.
At no point in my life am I ever just driving around or walking around or thinking to myself quietly, I'll tell you what, oatmeal raisin cookie would be really good. That would be a strong pull.
In fact, when you are, say you're at work and there's some cookies, whatever, in the break room, you're going to go grab them. When you walk in and see their oatmeal raisin, you then question whether or not you even want a cookie.
Yeah.
You just leave.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Here's the thing. When people bring in cookies to work, say an assortment tray, the cookies that are left on the tray that need to be thrown away at the end of the day because they've all been touched and fondled and sneezed on are the oatmeal raisin cookies.
Right.
So a love letter to our vending machine guy. No more. Thanks. Signed TD first, and then right below him, Rich Hornberger. Here's my morning monologue. We're here. We made it, folks. I know we have the Olympics, and that's been nice to tide us over a little bit. We had opening ceremonies last week, and we had some games this weekend. No question about it. The USA leads the total medal count right now, which is a really nice plus coming out of the first weekend of the Olympics. However, what I'm most excited for on the sports calendar, it's not the back half of the baseball season. It's not the Olympic sports, which many of them I only check in every 4 years in the summer games. It's the fact that the NFL kicks off this week. It happens this week. We got the Hall of Fame game. I mentioned it earlier. Bears, Texans. You get to see Caleb Williams, who's the future of this league, right? Against CJ Stroud, who we saw him burst onto the scene in his rookie year last year. I mean, I am so excited for this. And look, I know the same exact thing that always happens is going to happen when I turn on the Hall of Fame game this time around. I'm going to be completely disappointed with the level of play and how little the starters played. But just to have a taste, just a little taste, just to get the flavor, just to remember what it feels like to watch football at the professional level again is going to be amazing. We've made it. That's my morning monologue. We've spanned the desert of the offseason, and we're finally here. The NFL is back this week. Travis, Dale, let's go.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I feel the exact same way. I cannot wait to dive into this. I'm sitting on the couch watching a game. You're fired up the barbecue. You got a cold beer in your hand. All the things that you love are back in just several days.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to stand up for like 5 or 6 minutes. Just the things that you just said right there in that order. That was incredible.
Good.
Well done.
Good. You should be able to stand up because of your arch supports.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Thank you for pointing it out too. I stand taller. I stand prouder. And by the way, that former NFL scout breaking down the Super Bowl and which teams are going to appear potentially in the game coming up next. But before we get there, I do want to talk to you about my arch supports. Unbelievable support for my arches. And you may say to yourself, well, my arches don't need support. We all need arch supports. You don't realize it until you go to the Good Feet store how important these little things are. I mean, they've changed my life. You're just standing on top of these little platforms that slip into your shoes, and you may think, what is that going to change? It changes everything. Your feet are the foundation for the rest of your body. So if you think about this in terms of a building, right? You walk around downtown San Diego, you look at the foundation of these buildings. If it's a weak foundation, what happens? Disaster strikes. You're going to have buildings falling, crashing into each other. It would be nonsense. It would be an unsafe situation. So why are we doing that to ourselves with our feet? I want the best foundation, the strongest foundation I could get. So I go to the Good Feet store. It's a try before you buy experience. They put these arch supports in my shoes. I say, oh, those don't fit so great. So they get me another pair. Oh, these are a little bit better. Could you tweak it here? They find the right pair for me. I walk out of there feeling like I'm walking for the first time I'm supposed to be walking. And so I wore them for a week. My back pain started melting away. I wore them for 2 weeks. I didn't feel any more pain in my right knee. I wore them for a month, and the hip pain that was so severe that I was booking MRI appointments because I thought I was going to need surgery absolutely disappeared. So if you want more good days than bad days in terms of your lower body joint pain, you need to go to the Good Feet store today. Check them out at goodfeet.com. Book your first and free appointment today. That's goodfeet.com.
This report is sponsored by MGM Rewards. The Padres lose last night to the Orioles 6-8. That comes after 7 straight wins by the Padres, though. Padres now 6 games over 500. They went 7-2 on this road trip. And the Padres have acquired right-handed reliever Jason Adam from the Tampa Bay Rays, beefing up their bullpen at the cost of their top pitching prospect and 2 other minor league players. In exchange for Adam, a late-inning stalwart for the past 3 years, the Rays receive right-hander Dylan Lesko, catcher J.D. Gonzalez, and this one hurts a little bit, center fielder Homer Bush Jr. Man, oh man.
Little Bush.
Homer Bush Jr. Everybody knows him in the NFL. Tua gets signed for a $212.4 million contract extension with the Miami Dolphins. $167 million of that is guaranteed. And the Cowboys' former Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate Sam Williams tore his ACL during training camp practice. He's going to be out for the season. Hey, pool season fanatics, your summer persona is calling. It's time for sun-soaked party scenes at MGM Grand. New luxury cabanas at Bellagio and Sandy Beach Living at Mandalay Bay. Show off your poolside only with MGA Rewards. Visit mgmrewards.com for details. Big Rich City and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. I may get this figured out by Friday.
Dude, I'll tell you what, sooner than that.
I don't know.
By the end of this show, we're going to be saying, Fletch, who?
Yeah.
Because TD is on the 1s and 2s right
we
now.
are so dialed in. We got Luke Bryan tickets we're going to be giving away. We got Foo Fighter tickets we're going to be giving away.
Huge show.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
The prize closet is absolutely stacked here. Big Rich CD and Fletch away on vacation out in Wisconsin, and they've left me to the controls, and it has not been great so far.
No, yeah. When I said Fletch, what I really meant to say is we can't wait till you're back. We need you desperately. Please don't get hurt, injured, or otherwise on this trip. You stay away from acorns, for the love of God. Stay away from acorns.
God, can you imagine? There's got to be acorns in Wisconsin.
There's some proud oaks out there.
Yeah,
there's no question
without
about
a doubt. And as he's hiking, as I use air quotes, hiking around the lakes.
Yeah, dude, like that's the other thing. Like he keeps saying now the story, it's like, you hear a fishing story and the fish always gets bigger. By the way, before I get back to Fletch, I caught a fish big enough to eat.
What kind of fish was it?
It was like a lake bass.
Sweet.
Like a largemouth bass.
Where were you fishing?
So we went up to Lake Arrowhead this weekend.
Oh, very cool.
And
beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Ann's uncle's got a spot up there, and he's got a dock and a dock house. And so we spent probably 15 hours fishing. I mean, my oldest son loves to fish, and you catch fish. I'm not gonna. So you catch them, you put them back in the lake. I mean, it's catch and release, release, because a lot of them are small sunfish or like bluegill and things like that. Anybody who's fished off a dock at a lake knows what I'm talking about. But then, like, kind of deep down in the lake weed, there's these big old bass that will sometimes swim up to the surface and like chase the fish you have on the hook. And they're there, but they never bite at the worms that you're using. Until this trip, we caught 2 of these giant lake bass, and one of them slipped out of my hand and fell back into the lake before I realized that it was large enough to cook. And then the second one we brought up to the house. It got cleaned, and we had ourselves some fish.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fresh. It was delicious. It was really cool.
What did you just throw it on the grill? That was it? Did you do anything crazy to it?
Yeah, like so her uncle Greg and her aunt Marlena have this I guess
one of those little basket things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like a fish basket that you put on the grill, and it was perfect. Like 10 minutes later on high, it was delicious.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyways, I digress. Stay away from acorns, Fletch. For the love of God, we need you back.
That's right.
So on NFL.com, pretty cool. Former scout Bucky Brooks, who's also a Fox Sports Radio broadcaster. You hear him on Move the Sticks, the podcast that a lot of people listen to for some NFL updates. They have this criteria that I guess him and Daniel Jeremiah came up with, a formula, and it's a 12-player formula where they come up with who has the goods, basically. You need 1 quarterback. You need 3 offensive playmakers. You need 3 quality offensive linemen, 2 pass rushers. And I'm not even 100% sure what they mean by this. I'm assuming defensively, but 3 back 7 playmakers.
Making a fantasy team.
Basically kind of making a fantasy team. So then they have this other color system where If you have a blue player on the list, they're a top 5 to 10 players at their position.
Mhm.
If you have a green player, they're really solid. Yellow, potential concern due to age. Purple, unproven because they're young. And then pink, they're an unproven player who could become a green player, meaning really solid, dependable starter. So that's the color criteria.
Kind of fun.
So as you go through the list, a lot of these teams, as you would expect, are high on this list. The Kansas City Chiefs are number 1 with a bullet. The Philadelphia Eagles, awesome roster, obviously disappointing finish to the last year. They're right behind them at number 2. Then it goes Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers, Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the top 5 makes a lot of sense. Then it gets interesting. Number 6 is the Houston Texans.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you look through the list, CJ Stroud, he's considered top 5 to 10 at his position. You look at offensive playmakers, Tank Dell, they're adding to the list, but he's a yellow young player, unproven. The green list, though, includes Dalton Schultz, who was the tight end who came over from Dallas last year, and Nico Collins, who was a playmaker for Stroud when healthy last year. And then they have a bunch of quality offensive linemen. They have the 2 pass rushers because they drafted Will Anderson Jr. and they got Daniil Hunter in trade this offseason. So all of a sudden you start, or free agency, you start looking through the list and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, like the Houston Texans. Now, after them, Green Bay Packers, and then rounding out the top 8, the New York Jets.
Incredible.
So those
Incredible.
bottom 3 teams, I think, are kind of teams that there's high expectations, but I don't think anybody would put them in consideration to potentially win a Super Bowl. Would you?
No, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. I mean, well, we don't know. The Jets were supposed to be magic. We haven't seen it. We don't know what that looks like. So it could come out and all of a sudden everything works, everything clicks. By the way, Brandon Ayuk didn't get signed while I was on vacation, right?
No.
So
still not. And that update is yet to come. And I'm sure that's giving Fletch some agita while he's on vacation. But the last I checked in on that story, Ayuk had showed up to training camp. He's not playing. He was in street clothes and apparently left the field to discuss things with John Lynch. But Brandon Ayuk, it remains unextended, let's say. He's still under contract with the 49ers, but he hasn't played a snap at training camp yet.
So Brandon Ayuk right now with the 49ers considered a yellow player, some potential concern there. And it's because he's not signed. I mean, he said he's not going to play at this point.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, gosh, potential Super Bowl contender, the Houston Texans. It's hard to say that, but when you do look at the names and you look at CJ Stroud from last season, it does make you go, maybe there's some crazy run. The problem with the Texans is at some point they're going to have to run into the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know who's going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at this moment.
Well, what's fascinating,
the Niners maybe.
Yeah, about this list is the 8th team is the Jets. They play in that crowded conference you just mentioned, which includes the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow still plays there, even though his team didn't make this list. The Bengals, when Burrow's healthy every other year, which it really has worked out that way, they've either gone to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game and won or lost the game. So it's one of those situations where it's a crowded conference. But on the NFC side, you look at the Green Bay Packers and you start going through their position groups. Jordan Love obviously just got extended. He had a fabulous season for a young quarterback last year. But then you look at the running back, Josh Jacobs, very solid. Jaden Reed, Christian Watkins at wide receiver, both impact players. They got plenty on the offensive line. On the edge rushers, you forget Rashawn Gary is on the edge and Kenny Clark up front for them in the defensive tackle position. Like this team, and then on the back end, Jair Alexander, Xavier McKinney, they've got enough to stop you defensively. Like that roster is loaded for bear. However, the bottom 8, Texans, Packers, or Jets, I have more belief in the Jets than I think anybody else does.
Because of Aaron Rodgers?
Because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And also think about the Jets were a 7-win team last year, TD. The Jets stunk at quarterback. Stunk.
Yes. Like horrible.
And they still found a way to win 7 games.
Right. Right.
If Aaron Rodgers is healthy last year, I think it makes an enormous difference because that was a great defense and they got plenty of playmakers. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, both fantastic. If you had either one of them at receiver or running back on your fantasy team, you're very happy. They just got in Mike Williams in free agency from the Chargers. He's going to start the season hurt, but that's a value add player. You look around that defense, like I mentioned, they're stacked. So it is one of those things where the New York Jets, if Aaron Rodgers finally fulfills what he was supposed to last year with the Jets, I think they're going to be in consideration for a team at least to be seen in the postseason, if not make a deep run potentially.
If he doesn't, is he done?
He said so this is what he says, and I don't know if I trust everything that comes out of a player's mouth because they're competitive and they want to say what they think their fans want to hear and also what it's like a wish list.
Right.
But he says he wants to win 2 Super Bowls before he retires.
Okay.
That was his plan.
Okay. Well,
so
all right. Well, he's got one so far
right
in however many seasons.
No. 2 more.
No, I know. I'm saying 2 more. He's done one in 14, 15 seasons.
Yeah.
So he's got another 30 seasons to go at this pace.
At this rate. Yeah, that's a good point. Solid point. Aaron Rodgers is going to be 73 years old for the New York Jets when he wins that second Super Bowl.
But raising the Lombardi Trophy, it's gonna be absolutely magical.
Might need help raising that trophy.
What's gonna hurt him is if the Green Bay Packers end up winning the Super Bowl and you're staring at your old team lifting that trophy, because the Green Bay Packers are solid from top to bottom.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And look, I don't know if I believe that based on what we saw last year with Jordan Love that he can do it. We'll see. But players don't stagnate. They either get better or they get worse. They rarely stay the same. So I'm very curious to see what happens from there. Okay, coming up in just a little bit, I read an article that reminded me of this line in Zoolander. Did you ever think that there may be more to life than just being really, really, really ridiculously good looking? We'll read you part of that headline and some of the article context coming up next.
You know what? I'd also like to talk about, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Fresh cut fries.
Just give me a second.
Well, okay,
I'm gonna have to dig up that read.
Okay,
we'll do it at break here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
We are in full swing watching the athletes compete, and here's what's happening currently in Paris. In the medal count, the United States leads with 12 overall, China and France trailing with 9 and 8 respectively. As far as the gold medal count, how about this? China has the lead with 5, South Korea, Japan, and Australia just behind them, tied at 4. The U.S. has brought home gold already 3 times, tied for 3rd with the host country, France. This official medal count report is brought to you by Islands Restaurant, your local paradise. And if you're craving that beach vibe, remember there's an Islands Restaurant near you with all your favorites, like that Big Wave, served with Island's famous seasoned fries, the Shorebird, Yaki tacos, and how about those drinks? Island's Tropical Mai Tai, spicy margaritas, and the coldest beer, and I do mean coldest beer in town. Island's Happy Hour is weekdays from 3 to 6:30, featuring more of your Island's favorites like the cheesiest cheddar fries, nachos, and Bavarian pretzel bites with Island Sunny Blonde Ale beer cheese. Goodness gracious. It's time to visit your local paradise, Islands. Fine burgers and drinks. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. We have Foo Fighters tickets and Luke Bryan tickets coming up in just a little bit. Our final hour already coming up on this show. And then, of course, if you want to join us over on 1015 KGB from 3 to 7 p.m., Big Rich, TD, and Fletch continues. Fletch out today. It's going to be me and TD for the rest of the week in the morning. And then I believe Cat Fisher going to be joining us in the afternoons over on 1015 KGB for the 3rd straight week.
I was just going to ask if Cat was going to be joining us. She's a lot of fun.
She is a lot of fun. Got to work with her last week when you were out, TD. You got to work with her the week I was out previous to that. So Cat filling in for Fletch this week. Looking forward to that. And if you miss any of that show again, or if you were unaware, 3 to 7 p.m. over on 1015 KGB. So Travis Kelce and the Chiefs had a big year last year. Travis Kelce specifically had the biggest year of any NFL player, maybe in the history of NFL players.
I don't remember hearing a lot about him.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
so? Yeah. Let me update you really quick. So Travis Kelce and the Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowl championships, but on their way there, he actually threw a friendship bracelet to a woman named Taylor Swift, who's a mega pop star, and they hit it off so much so that they started a relationship that was buzzing in the preseason, went full-fledged before the regular season. And then she showed up at like 13 of the Chiefs games on their way to winning the Super Bowl and having a kiss at midfield.
Well,
So
you would have thought that the NFL would have shown more of that.
yeah, you know, it's weird that they didn't. I agree with you. Maybe this year, maybe a little bit of the dew will be off the lily and we'll be able to actually experience this.
Season 2 of Travis and Taylor.
I'm going to read you an actual quote. This is something that Travis actually said. Okay. Last year was pretty taxing on my body. The Kansas City Chiefs tight end said, I've had more snaps than a lot of guys. And if everybody in the NFL over the past 5-6 years, and I'm pretty prideful of that, but I know it's taken a lot on me. So it's making sure my body is getting that rest and the ability to train harder and be able to withstand the entire 17 to 20 game schedule, already forecasting a deep playoff run.
That's exactly correct.
What's amazing about this is
he's also winning the division or winning the conference. So they have a first round bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not going to have to worry about playing week 1 of the postseason, obviously. Anyways, moving on to our 3rd Super Bowl in a row. Here's what's crazy is, so Travis Kelce, yes, there's no doubting it, and the Kansas City Chiefs in general, they have spent more time on the field than any football team over the past couple of years. There's no doubt about that, as Travis Dale is putting one of the more bizarre scenes from anime on our screen of maybe all time. What's under that?
So now John and Jim left themselves logged into the computer. Big mistake.
Oh yeah.
Big mistake.
We're going to mess with that the whole day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I told Travis Dale, TD, our buddy behind the glass today, because Fletch is out, to put some really awful searches in their YouTube search history. And we are running through some of the most disgusting and demoralizing cartoon depictions you've ever seen in your life. But I get back to Travis Kelce. So this guy is on this world tour gallivanting with America's sweetheart, Taylor Swift.
Right.
And he has the audacity to be like, you know what? Time is really taking a beating on me. Like, I understand the snaps are adding up. I'm no spring chicken anymore. I have a hard time when athletes start complaining about this. Like, he's literally jet setting to see her play Sydney, Australia.
Correct.
He literally left the United States during the Chiefs bye week during a season where they went on to win the Super Bowl to see her play Brazil or Colombia.
He's currently performing. He jumps on stage and sings songs with her.
Dude, he gets on private jets and he flies from city to city to city, barnstorming with his world famous pop star girlfriend, and he has the audacity to complain about anything. Listen, I get it. You want to appear relatable, or maybe you want to fill people in it. Like, the only quotes we should be hearing from Travis Kelce is something to the extent of, somehow I have a magic horseshoe jammed up my ass and I'm living the life that every single red-blooded American male wants to live. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I'm going to ride this gravy train until the damn biscuit wheels fall off.
Which, by the way, you know how I am an ultra-rich NFL football player? The woman I'm with is one of the richest in the world. She's a billionaire. Yeah. Billionaire.
She's making so much more money than me. She laps me 10 times.
That is correct.
And I'm not even...
It may be 20 times.
Right? It's insane.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the update on Travis Kelce and the Chiefs.
Well, if you didn't get your fill of Travis and Taylor last season, you're going to get more of it this season.
Buckle up, buddy. Yeah.
It is going to be spoon fed to us all.
No question about it. All right. Coming up next hour, back to the Padres. They signed a reliever at the trade deadline. Are you relieved? We want to hear from you. Use that talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. Is this what the doctor ordered for the Padres, or should they have done more? We'd love to hear from you. Hit that talkback mic. It's that the play button on the free iHeartRadio app. You can record a 30-second message or up to a 30-second message. We can play it here on the show. Before we run, though, I want to talk to you about our weight loss as a show. I'm down 35 plus pounds. I've been able to keep the weight off. TD's down over 30. Fletch, he's down over 40. You may look at pictures and say to yourself, like, geez, yeah, these guys do look a lot smaller than they did about a year ago. How did they do it? It was with SDFatLoss.com. STFatLoss.com was incredible because we were all skeptics. When we first talked to Wade and Chloe, we were saying all the right things. We were like, yeah, we'll follow the plan. And yeah, we're sure it'll work. Thanks, Wade and Chloe. And then behind closed doors, we were like, yeah, we'll see. Well, we did see. In the first week, I got on the phone with Chloe because I had lost 14 pounds and I was nervous. I was like, hey, is this okay? And she was like, yeah, you had a long way to go. But that's how effective it is. It was so effective that I went from skeptic to actually calling the person who created the plan or the team who created the plan and saying, hey, am I all right losing this much weight this quickly? And then again, like I mentioned, down 35 pounds and keeping it off. You switch from this weight loss phase into this maintenance phase, and you're eating foods that you like to eat. You're not getting these weird protein shake food replacements. You're not getting injected with anything, which has become so popular lately. You're not counting points. You're not counting calories. You're not even exercising to lose all this weight. That was really the most bizarre part about it is you feel like, oh, maybe I should get on a treadmill. They actually encourage you not to exercise because the plan works without exercise, and they want to prove it to you. And it does. It absolutely does. So if you're looking to lose weight, you got those stubborn pounds still stuck to you. You promised that you'd get off for the summertime. Go to SDFatLoss.com right now. Mention the show, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. You'll save $200 on your subscription. That's SDFatLoss.com.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. The Padres, after 7 straight wins, they lose to the Orioles last night 6-8. Randy Vasquez had a terrible third inning. He put up 6 straight batters via 3 walks and 3 singles. All of them scored to put the Orioles on top 6-0. But even with that loss, Padres had a very, very nice road trip. They go 7-2 on the last 9 games. They're now sitting 6 games over 500, tied for a second season best 6 over 500. Padres have also acquired right-handed reliever Jason Adam from the Tampa Bay Rays. Olympics underway out in Paris. The U.S. leads the medal count with 12, or at least they did as of an hour ago. So they may have more medals now. I don't really know. Japan and Australia tied for the most gold medals with 4. I'll have to look that up and double check. In the NFL, Cowboys former defensive rookie of the year candidate Sam Williams tore his ACL during training camp. He is out for the season. And Miami Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa has signed a 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension. $167 million of that is guaranteed. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing it. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Right now, we are celebrating a Monday the only way we know how, by typing in BDSM into YouTube on John and Jim's login. And we are going to try to fill up their algorithm with the most inane, horrific things so that when they sign back in, they're like, who's watching tentacle porn on our computer?
Wasn't us.
Wasn't us.
Wasn't us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Can't
I don't have access to that account.
No, that is John and Jim only.
Yeah, that absolutely.
So if it wasn't John, then it means it was Jim. And if it wasn't Jim, it means it was John. And if it wasn't either, it might have been Brent Sperry.
That's correct.
Which, by the way, let's be honest. If all of a sudden BDSM showed up on any of my work computers, I would immediately think it was Brent. There's no question about it.
I'm with you. I feel the same way. But yeah, I mean, so far I think we're doing pretty good. I don't really know what's happening here. This looks like a circus trick.
Hang on, really quick. As you're speaking, it's drowned out by the hot hip hop beats that I'm listening to now on the royalty-free music.
What? How?
I have no idea.
There's nothing on.
I mean, it is coming in hot in my ear.
Can you still hear it?
No, it's gone now. But I think the track just ran out.
There's nothing on. There's nothing lit.
That is so crazy.
I don't know. I mean, this is what happens when the new guy's here.
No, you're doing great.
Yeah, listen, I found the music though.
Yeah,
which was pretty good.
But okay.
If I turn it back up, do you hear anything?
Nothing.
Okay, cool. We're good.
Let's pull back the curtain. So Fletch left. He's on vacation in the Midwest. While he's on vacation, he said, "Hey, listen, anytime you need me, because I talked to Kendall about this, you can call." And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're not going to bother you. Dude, you're on vacation. We get it. Like, you got to take time with your family. Obviously, work will be here when you get back. No. Dude, enjoy your time. Now I understand why I said it, because he literally makes using the computer that he set up in the production studio like we're trying to hack into the Department of Defense.
Well, okay, so we now use all royalty-free music. Why does he still have 3,000 non-royalty music songs?
I don't know, but we played almost all of them in the first 2 hours. So if you're going to be looking for the podcast after the show, don't, because we will not be podcasting this episode.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I feel like it's all coming together though.
Oh yeah. Dude, absolutely. Speaking of which, there is now a woman tied and hung, I guess you would say, upside down, by a gentleman wearing a pencil thin necktie and slacks with no shoes on this YouTube BDSM video that is now going to be on John and Jim's algorithm.
I gotta tell you, that doesn't really look like fun.
No, listen, different strokes for different folks. For me, that does nothing for me. But if you are a Spider-Man or woman enthusiast,
Brent,
you are freaking out right now.
Like Brent
Sperry.
Yeah.
No question.
So right now he is thanking me. for typing this in.
There's no question about it.
Right.
So I'm thanking the Padres for going on a heater leading into the trade deadline. I'm sure many Padres fans are as well. Listen, we talked about it last week, and I think everybody feels the same way. And if you feel differently, we'd love to hear from you, especially. But if you feel similarly, don't be shy either. You could use that talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. It's the little microphone button next to the play button. Did the Padres get it right at the deadline? Did they do the right thing? Is this what you think they should have done? They tracked down Jason Adam, who's a great reliever for the Tampa Bay Rays. They traded their top pitching prospect, a catcher and an outfielder. And in return, they stabilize a pitching unit or a pitching staff that absolutely needed help. Was it enough? A. B. Is this team enough to go on a deep playoff run? Because we were told the 2020s were going to be about World Series championships.
Multiple.
So far, we don't have any. So with the window open now, which it is still open, you've got all-stars everywhere you look on this team and potential all-stars. Some have been injured at different points this season all over this team. Is it enough to make a deep postseason run?
You know, you also, I guess, have the potential of Musgrove coming back. You have the potential of Yu Darvish coming back. I don't really see that actually happening. I don't know why. I just don't feel that. But Musgrove, maybe, but you can't rely on it. But we said this going into the trade deadline of, look, they have to add pitching to this team.
I can't believe what's now playing on this YouTube. This algorithm has a really. There's a woman talking about how she cheated on her man with a dog. Look, John and or Jim.
One girl and her horse.
And then, by the way, after that, in the title line of this YouTube video, it says ... Nuff said. Right. So anyways, enjoy that, John and Jim.
Yeah, that's going to be great. But this is what we were asking for. If they were over 500, let's see. I mean, you can't. There's no way they can't add someone to the team. There's no way.
They had to add someone. So look, we knew it was going to be some sort of move. We also knew it wasn't going to be like a super sexy, splashy move like AJ Preller has pulled off in the past. He doesn't have the capital, to do something like that. I don't think he has the leash from the ownership group to do something like that. I think he was given a lot of rope by Peter Seidler. I think the rope ran out after his unfortunate passing and the passing of the baton from him to others who are in control of this organization now. There's less money to spend. There's luxury tax implications. So all those things, you throw it into the big pot and you stir it up. Well, of course, they're going to go after, maybe to San Diegans and Padres fans, a little known reliever from Tampa Bay, but it doesn't mean that he can't help. Doesn't mean that over the past 3 seasons, he hasn't been, foundational, like a really, really talented arm out of the bullpen for the Tampa Bay Rays, because he has. But it wasn't going to be something earth-shattering. It wasn't going to be something that measured on the Richter scale. This is a very solid move for a very solid team at the deadline. Now, can the Padres keep it up? That's the biggest question. Now that they've made this move and they've added throughout the course of the season, Dylan Cease and Luis Arraez and now Jason Adam, is this going to factor in greatly and help them win their first World Series in franchise history?
It does not sound like a World Series champion pitching staff. Now, that doesn't mean it can't work. There have been moments of look at Dylan Cease. I mean, he had a fantastic day last Thursday. I mean, there's a chance here they make a run if the offense can stay hot. Let's rock and roll.
No question. Speaking of rock and roll, coming up today on the show, and we got to do this in the next 48 minutes. So you better be listening intently if you want to go see either of these shows for free. You could win Luke Bryan tickets. That's going to be an August 8th show at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, deets and seats at Ticketmaster.com. Or the day before that at Petco Park, the Foo Fighters are playing. We have a pair of tickets to see that show as well. You can go to Ticketmaster.com for details and information as well. So if you're looking to win either of those two great shows, one country act, one rock, keep it right here. You're listening to the right show. We'll tell you how to win those in just a little bit.
I feel like we got to do one this segment.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we
okay, so how about this? Over the next say 12 minutes, you're going to find out exactly how to win either the Luke Bryan or the Foo Fighters tickets.
Right. And it may be a keyword. You don't know.
Yeah.
You got to listen.
You
Yeah,
better.
right.
If you don't, you'll miss out.
It's right. That's
No
right.
question.
That's right. Did you want to do a halfie?
Yeah, let's do a halftime, and then on the other side, we'll tell you how to win these tickets.
I don't know where the halftime music is, so we'll just try this one and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's the show opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to do it? Me, you?
All right, you go. But I'm going to tee up.
Okay.
You know what time it is. TD, it's halftime.
Woo! Yeah, the Padres, we've been talking about them all morning long. They were hot, man, the past 9 games. They won 7 straight. Well, they lost one. They won 7 in a row, and then they lost another. So it's kind of is that a loser sandwich or a winner sandwich?
Let me think. I guess it is technically a loser sandwich, but there were 7 in the row in the middle of it. So it's a lot of meat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Much like one of those New York delis.
Yeah.
Yeah, filled with meat.
Pastrami.
But they lost last night 6-8 against the Orioles. Randy Vasquez, man, he had a tough night, especially that 3rd inning. 6 straight batters got on base. 6 straight batters scored. They were down 6-0 in the 3rd. Even with that loss, though, Padres, like I said, great road trip. They went 7-2 on the last 9 games. They're now sitting 6 over 500. We were just talking about it. The Padres have acquired right-handed reliever Jason Adam from the Tampa Bay Rays, and Olympics are happening, and we have been diving into them big time. And
so hard.
And when I say diving into them, I mean the United States won their first gold medal at the Paris Olympics after a strong showing in the 4x100 meter freestyle relay on Saturday. Simone Biles, she looked great. She came out, had a strong showing as well. I do believe the U.S. still in the points lead in gymnastics.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, they locked up their quarterback. Tua got signed for $212.4 million, an extension there. I'm sure he had one. $167 million guaranteed.
Wow.
Cowboys' former defensive rookie of the year candidate Sam Williams tore his ACL. He done, son. And once you're done, son, you're done, son. And we got a text late last night from Fletch who said, "Hey, did you see our boy Patty? Patty the Batty? He choked out Bobby Green in 2 minutes last night.
Yeah.
Oh my God."
Let me tell you something about that text and about Patty the Batty. And by the way, this show, we're fans of Patty Pimblett. There's no question about it. He appeared in studio on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch when he came to San Diego, and he was pumping up his new weed brand.
Right. He's handing out joint hats.
Yeah. And he was going to smoke shops around San Diego. One of his stops was over here, so we got to meet him, shake the champ's hand. He fought a tomato can. Like, this guy, nobody, I mean, I've never heard of King Bobby Green. He's got like 12. I looked up his record earlier today. He's got like 12 or 16 losses. Like, nobody on the card besides him had more than like a handful of losses. He's got like 16 of them. So they basically they fed a sheep to a lion. You know what I mean?
Well,
Patty,
it took about 2 minutes.
Yeah, Patty went into the ring and just choked this dude unconscious within seconds. Literally 90 to 120 seconds. It was over.
UFC 304 in the books.
In the books, yeah. And it looks like Conor McGregor, by the way, is going to fight sometime soon. It may get pushed back to the Sphere. Last I was talking to Fletch about it. He follows mixed martial arts closer than I do. And it's for this reason. I brought this up with him last week. He was trying to get me all fired up about UFC 304. And I was like, they got no juice right now. And it's not Dana White's fault. Dana White's a great showman. He's done a nice job going viral for things, honestly, more things that have happened outside the octagon than have actually happened inside of the cage. But they don't have a Conor McGregor right now on a, card in, card out basis. They don't have a Ronda Rousey anymore. And those two attracted so much attention to the UFC.
You need a name that's bigger than just the UFC. You need a name that people outside of the UFC recognize as a UFC fighter. It doesn't mean they're a fan, but it's just they are that big and that important to the brand.
There's no question.
Yeah. And there's just not that guy at the moment. I don't know if there's somebody coming up in the ranks. Maybe Patty becomes the guy.
Yeah. I mean, very possible he could. I think they're actually aiming in that direction because he's a great fighter. There's no doubting that. And also he's a big personality guy. He's also one of those guys, though, in the offseason, he gets himself super out of shape. Like he's talked about this publicly.
Right.
Like when we met him, he was probably 35 pounds heavier than the guy who appeared in the cage last night.
Last night or Saturday night, he was ripped. I mean, ripped. And there was not hardly any definition when he came in studio.
Oh, dude. Yeah. When he walked in, I mean, don't get me wrong. He could have choked out all three of us at the same time.
Yeah.
But still, like, this is a guy who knows how to party in the offseason. I dig that.
Yeah, I'm in. That makes me a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. A fan for life. All right. So, Padres fans, speaking of fans, we want to hear from you. Again, that talkback mic is open if you want to leave us a talkback on the free iHeartRadio app. It's a little microphone button next to the play button. You click the talkback mic, you can leave us a message about your thoughts on the Padres at the trade deadline. Essentially, here's where I come down on this. AJ Preller is fighting for his life right now. AJ Preller, if this team doesn't perform, he's gone. If this team misses the postseason, I mean, he'll be on the first thing smoking out of San Diego. That's my opinion. I don't have any further insight than just my own conjecture. We have talked to Kevin Acee about it, and he seems to agree with the thought process that this is a make or break season for AJ Preller. So, take that for what it's worth. I mean, that's a guy who's literally on the road with the Padres every step of the way. He covers them every single night at Petco Park when they play there as well.
He's our best friend.
Yeah,
he says, I love you.
He does. He has in the past. Not every time.
Not every time, but a lot of times he does.
A lot of times.
Yeah. And I think he almost confirmed that we are your premier destination for Padres information.
He almost confirmed it. He stopped short of confirming it completely. So we are working on confirmation there. But we have, I would say, self-proclaimed that we are your destination for Padres information.
No one has said we're not.
No, yeah, that's also true. Nobody has come over the top and said, so we're going to roll with it until otherwise notified.
Right.
In terms of this move, is this the move that saves AJ Preller's job? To me, the answer is no. The move that saved AJ Preller's job, or it may end up saving AJ Preller's job, is the two that he made prior to the deadline. You needed, and you didn't even realize it until he did it, you absolutely needed a player like Luis Arraez in this lineup.
Yeah, he did.
You needed, and maybe we knew this and were more aware of it before the trade came in because of the injury history of both Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, and we've seen what's happened this year. But you knew that you needed an additional arm. So getting Dylan Cease in the rotation was a hugely important addition right before they left for Seoul, South Korea.
Locking up Profar before the start of the season for $1 million, which turns out to be genius.
Yeah, it's almost like accidental how well that storyline has worked out. I mean, Jackson Merrill time as such a young man, but he seemed ready for it.
Has anybody been more clutch than Profar this season?
No.
Nobody.
I mean, outside of maybe Matt Waldron,
right?
I mean, like, truthfully, I mean, even in the Juan Soto trade, he made sure to get Michael King, who's been up and down this season. But like that's a great acquisition too when you really think about it, because if you're going to give up Soto, you better get pitching back, because it's going to be a huge need for the Padres, which it obviously turned out to be a huge need. I go back to something that I said last week, and I want to repeat it for you, TD. I think to start the season, I would say AJ Preller was general managing for his life, and at the trade deadline, he's basically unfireable, because he's created a situation where if AJ Preller got fired, say mid-season, you would be like, oh, this is ridiculous. What are the Padres doing?
Right.
At the beginning of the season, if you told me that AJ Preller was going to be fired by the trade deadline, I would have said, yeah, no, that sounds like it makes sense. Like I could forecast a situation where that happens. But this team being 6 games over 500, this team being in position to potentially get hot when the season almost requires you to in the back half of the season, I mean, AJ Preller has essentially saved his job to this point.
Where do the Padres have to end up in your mind for AJ Preller to be back next season?
At very least, the playoffs.
But is the playoffs enough? I feel like you have to at least get past that wild card round.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying at very least the playoffs. Now, at most, it depends on how many friends he has in the front office, or frankly, maybe the opposite, how many enemies or people who want to see him leave. Maybe it'll take a second round berth. Maybe it'll take them fighting their way all the way to a championship series again. Maybe it'll take them appearing or winning a World Series for him to keep his job. I don't know, because he doesn't have the protection of Peter Seidler anymore. And I don't know how worn out the rest of this ownership group is on AJ Preller. So I guess the correct answer is we'll see, but I would say the bare minimum is playoffs. Otherwise, again, this is just my opinion. Otherwise, he'll lose his job.
86 or 87 wins, but they missed the playoffs. Is he out?
Out.
It's a pretty good season.
Yeah,
Better than it's been.
I just can't see a situation get to the postseason after being promised what fans have been promised, and you're halfway through the decade. We were told in no uncertain terms more than one World Series before the 2020s are over, and you get to the midpoint with the same guy who you've done a lot of losing with. You've had some real nice moments, but have done a lot of losing with over the past decade. And you're halfway through the decade of quote unquote winning, and you still haven't. You've been to the championship series, but that was at that point at the end of this season, it'd be almost 3 full years ago.
I think that promise is long gone. The guy that made that promise is not here, so that promise no longer stands.
Yeah, that makes me sad, because
same.
The sincere hope is that even though obviously Peter Seidler is no longer with us, the flame and the burning passion that seemed to fuel him and all these massive signings he made and all the excitement around this ballpark that obviously has been Petco Park smashing attendance records this season, ranking, I think, in the top 5 still in terms of percentage of ballpark filled per game. Like it's ridiculous how much energy and enthusiasm is behind this team. If that's what you said is true, if the thought that the Padres this decade would be about World Series championships, at least one, it died with Peter Seidler. That makes me sad.
It makes me very sad as well. I just think that Peter Seidler understood exactly what the Padres mean to San Diego, and exactly what the Padres mean to this fan base, and how much we are dying to see a championship come here, because we've been so close on a number of occasions, but it hasn't come to fruition. I don't think AJ Preller or the front office gets it. It's not the same process, or not the same thought process, because it's a hobby of Peter Seidler, who his ultimate goal was to bring a championship, not the ultimate goal of putting money in his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say this. He was a businessman too. It just didn't feel like he cared all that much about the business side when it came to building the roster. It felt like he cared about the business side from the beautification of Petco Park, which I hope continues after his passing. It felt like it mattered with the concessions, like obviously expensive but delicious concessions available at Petco Park. Like there's money to be made around baseball, but when it came to the roster, he wasn't going to skimp on that part of the deal. And I pray that's the case for this new ownership group, but we'll see. And also we'll see what happens this season, because I think the future of the Padres is going to be determined, and both the short-term and potentially long-term future of the Padres is going to be determined by what happens in the next few short months.
2 minutes from right now. How about that? 8:29 on the dot. 877-767-4760.
Nice.
God, I had to do that by memory. Oh, it's right here backwards. There's a lot of sevens in that.
Yeah.
If you are caller number 5, do you want to have a keyword?
Nah, you don't need a keyword, but caller number 5 at, would you say 829?
Yep.
829 at 877-767-4760. Let's give away those Luke Bryan tickets. That's the show that's coming up over at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 8th. You could get some information and even seats at Ticketmaster.com, or you could call in just a few seconds, really, and you could win those tickets if you're caller number 5. Still have Foo Fighter tickets on the other side. And we got to get back to the NFL. A threesome of quarterbacks signed over the weekend, extended, if you will. We'll get to that storyline. But first, I want to talk to you about how we are in the full swing watching all of the great United States athletes compete over in Paris. And here's where the medal overall. However, France and China, they're hot on their heels. 10 and 9 overall medals, respectively. In the gold medal count, China has the lead with 5. South Korea, Japan, Australia just behind, tied at 4. Country France. This official medal count is brought to you by Islands Restaurants, your local paradise. I love Islands. Look, I mean, you've heard me talk about this before. They have such a huge menu of items that will please every single palate at the table. And I've got some picky eaters. My youngest, we can't bring him anywhere. We bring him to Islands. He always finds something to eat, and obviously I do too. If you're looking for a family-friendly, beachy vibe atmosphere, some delicious food and drinks, look no further. In fact, check out Islands Happy Hour specials weekdays from 3 to 6:30 p.m. Whether it's the big wave with seasoned fries, yaki tacos, or their tropical mai tais, there's something for absolutely everyone. As I mentioned, very few restaurants I can actually visit with my family. Everybody in the Ornberger clan finds something to eat at Islands. Enjoy your trip to the Islands. Visit your local paradise. Islands, find burgers and drinks.
Think of America. Padres They won. They had a 9-game road trip. They lost the first one. They win 7 in a row, and then they lost the last one last night, 6-8 to the Orioles. Even with that loss, Padres, like I said, a great road trip, going 7-2 in the last 9 games. They're now sitting 6 games over 500. As of last night, they were a season-high 7 games over 500. Padres have also acquired right-handed reliever Jason Adam from the Tampa Bay Rays, beefing up their bullpen at the cost of their top pitching prospect and 2 other minor league players. In the Olympics out in Paris, U.S. leads the medal count. Japan and Australia tied for the most gold medals with 4. The United States won its first gold medal at the Paris Olympics after a strong showing at the 4x100-meter freestyle. That happened Saturday. The USA men's basketball team turned on the Jets in the fourth quarter versus Serbia. They won 110-84. And Team USA's women's gymnastics team started its qualifications yesterday. Simone Biles sustained a lower left leg injury while warming up on her floor exercise during Team USA's second rotation, but absolutely rocked it when she got on the floor with her leg taped up. Team USA, the current point leader. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024. Hey, it's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760. Congratulations to Joseph, who won himself a pair of tickets to go see Luke Bryan. That's happening August 8th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. If you are looking for deets, if you're looking for seats, go to Ticketmaster.com. Now, if you want to win Foo Fighter tickets, we still have those we're giving away. The Foo going to be out at Petco Park August 7th. Golly, that's going to be a show. Deets and seats, Ticketmaster.com. The opening ceremony of the Olympics, interesting, and then suddenly not so interesting. Actually, the opening ceremony of the Olympics, I was a bit of a head scratcher. There were parts of it that I did not quite understand. However, there were other parts I thought were pretty cool. The weird, I don't know what you call him, the masked individual who was running the whole time with the torch, running across water, running across stands, doing flips. It was very video game-esque, which was kind of fun, I guess. I just didn't really get it. The 14,000 athletes that were put on boats and run up the river as they were introduced was pretty spectacular. The masked individual who got on the running horse, which skipped across the water, was also pretty cool. But like I said, there was a lot of head scratchers there. Lady Gaga, she performed. It was fine, I guess. I think it was lip synced. I think what was not lip synced was Celine Dion. Celine Dion came out and not a dry eye in the house, man. She brought the house down. But then they lit the torch and it was a hot air balloon because aviation started with hot air balloons out in France. The thing lifted up in the sky. Is it still in the sky? I don't know. It feels like it couldn't be, but it was lifted up high above Paris, France there. It was, a beautiful showing, I guess. It was just a little weird. If I was going to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, I guess I'm in the 5 range because it's kind of indifferent to me. There was, like I said, a lot that was missed there. But Olympics underway. We win our first gold medal in swimming, the 4x100 freestyle. That's cool. Fencing, apparently, we're really good at. I had no idea that the U.S. was so good at fencing, but it came down to 2 Americans where they had to go against each other. And the winner there, Lee Kiefer, she beat Lauren Scruggs to take the gold medal. Lauren Scruggs took silver in women's fencing. Look, it's cool. I'm trying to find my place where I'm getting into the Olympics as Rich busts through the door here. I'm talking fencing, man. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I accidentally turned on the Olympics and it was soccer.
Oh yeah. Was it the U.S. women's?
No, it was 2 countries I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
that happens a lot to me. I'm tuning in to watch the U.S. and I find myself watching and somewhat riveted by other countries, and then realize halfway through, like, I don't want to watch this if the U.S. isn't participating.
Right. I did watch some women's rugby as well. and
Violent.
I mean, crazy.
It almost seems like well, it's probably not, but it seems somehow more violent in the women's game.
I agree. They seem angrier.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and when they zoom in, there's a lot of F yeahs that get dropped, which I'm into. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
But there's no blurring.
A bunch of muscular, dirty women shouting F yeah.
Yeah. But
like just covered in grass and mud.
Right. But every rugby match that I watched ended like 37-5. It wasn't close.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So congratulations to all the teams that won, whichever ones those were.
All of you countries out there who provided your best athletes, congrats. Speaking of the best athletes, it's not always the best athletes who get signed. Look, and we know how this game goes. In the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're the best at your position. It matters how desperate your team are, how desperate your team is, I should say, and the fact that you have any talent, right? So, and I'm not saying Tua Tagovailoa is just some average Joe Schmo playing in the NFL. But if I were going to say like this or that, Tua or Justin Herbert, you take Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Tua or Lamar Jackson, you take Jackson.
Right.
Tua or Joe Burrow. Tua or Josh Allen. Tua or Anthony Richardson. Tua or CJ Stroud. Tua or Trevor Lawrence. Tua or Aaron Rodgers. Tua or Matthew Stafford. Like, you get pretty far down the list before you start saying, yeah, I'll take that guy over Tua.
Okay, except all those people you listed, they already have homes. So you have to find the home that's available.
See, and that's the point about desperation. Now, don't get me wrong, the Miami Dolphins aren't that desperate because they have Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
And he was under contract. But the problem is, we know how the NFL works. It's like musical chairs. And when the music stops, if you don't have one of these guys, you're screwed. And so the Miami Dolphins, foregoing being one of these teams that don't have at least a competent quarterback, if not somebody who flirts with being a great quarterback year to year, like Tua Tagovailoa, even though he is pretty far down the list, like Tua or Kirk Cousins. Now, after the Achilles, maybe it changes some certain people's mind, but not mine. Right. I would take Kirk Cousins over Tua Tagovailoa.
I would too.
And so it's one of those math equations you got to do in your head. Like, how willing are we to try our lot, bringing either an expensive free agent if one's available, or going out and drafting a quarterback if he decides that he doesn't want to play for Miami after his contract expires.
But how much did Kirk Cousins get broke off?
He got, what did he get? He got upwards of $30 million a year.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not as expensive as Tagovailoa.
Well, at the time, there was more real estate to purchase.
Well, exactly correct too. You know, there was more available, more out there. And again, when you get down to the nitty gritty, you do not want to be one of these teams without a quarterback in at least the top 15, because then you have zero chance of making the postseason.
Right.
Basically.
Right. Yeah.
So Tua gets paid. Jordan Love gets paid. Matthew Stafford gets his contract reorganized so that he's guaranteed $5 million to play this year, an additional $4 million next year. They structured it so that he gets basically a $9 million bonus for time served, and a little bit more confidence from the team that you are the quarterback, at least for our next couple of seasons.
Right.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, did the Rams screw this up? Yeah, the answer is probably not. Did the Dolphins screw this up? No. Did the Packers screw it up with Jordan Love? No, probably not either. You just kind of have to do this business. Otherwise, you're not in the business of winning.
Right. That's exactly correct. I mean, they have to make a deal somehow. Otherwise, what's the point?
Right.
I mean, it's over. So do or do not. There is no try here.
All right, we got Foo Fighter tickets. So this is a do or do not situation for you as well. You're going to need to hang in, because we also have the ability to stop commercial breaks and say whatever we want into the microphones. Yeah. So over the next, say, 5 to 8 minutes or so, you're going to hear our voices again. And when you hear our voices again, we are going to give you the number to call and the time to call for the Foo Fighter tickets. So if you're waiting for those tickets, wait just a little bit longer.
That's right. And, I was on vacation last week, but while on vacation, I was able to stick to the SD fat loss plan.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. So look, it has been a long road to get here because before I started with SDFatLoss.com, I was super fat.
Oh, it was awful.
It was
He
so
like
God,
sweating mayonnaise
oh,
all over us.
golly. yes,
We
and
used to call
I
them-
did that. I
we-
did that again in New York.
We used to call him Hellman, and it was hell, man.
Yeah. That's right. That is all accurate. Okay. Look, the mayonnaise has stopped, and it's all thanks to Wayne and Chloe at SDFatLoss.com. Look, I've struggled with weight my whole life. I've been overweight on numerous occasions and didn't really know where to get started. Didn't really know how to get kickstarted. When Wayne and Chloe, the coaches and staff over at SDFatLoss.com came in, they said, you're going to lose a lot of weight. You're going to lose a lot of weight fast. In fact, you're going to lose 20 to 30 pounds in 8 weeks' time. It seemed impossible. 8 weeks went by. I lost 31 pounds. Rich down 35 plus. Fletch down close to 50 pounds with SDFatLoss.com. And now I'm in the maintenance phase, the maintaining the weight off phase, because that's the thing. It's not like one of these fad diets where you stop and then you gain the weight right back. That's what's the beautiful part about SDFatLoss.com. And while on vacation, I was still able to eat the things I like to eat and keep that weight off. So go there right now, SDFatLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation today, and then mention Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and you'll save yourself $200 when you sign up. SDFatLoss.com.
We promised we shall deliver, and we're delivering the news right now that you were looking for. If you want to win those Foo Fighter tickets, it's very simple. Call 877-767-4760. Don't call right now. Call at exactly 8:48. That's 8:48 at 877-767-4760 and be caller number 5. And you're going to go see the Foos play Petco Park August 7th. Ticketmaster.com for details. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. That about do it. We only have a couple of housekeeping issues. We got bottom of the barrel coming up in just a few moments. We'll round out any of the stories that we missed throughout the course of the day. Also, tomorrow we're going to have more Luke Bryan tickets, more Foo Fighter tickets. But joining us right now on the phone is the first winner this week of the Foo Fighter tickets. Carrie, what's up, man?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, dude, you're going to see the Foos at Petco Park.
Nice.
Yes.
You a big Foo Fighter fan, Gary?
Yeah, who's not a Foo Fighter fan?
No kidding. God, I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Dude, hey, congratulations, man. Hang on one second. I'll make sure that I have the correct info for you, but you're going, buddy. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
There he goes. Carrie is our first winner this week for the Foo Fighter tickets. We're going to have several more coming up this week. Really excited to give those tickets away. Again, Luke Bryan tickets as well. Quick final thought on the Padres, because we got a bunch of talkbacks on the talkback mic today about the Padres. Many of them were too frustrated and expletive laden to play on air, because there were a lot of people who were really excited about the recent burst the Padres had, and they were not upset, so to speak, but maybe expecting more from the Padres at the trade deadline. Here's what I'll say. And I'm only pushing back slightly because I do get it. And I understand what was promised in the 2020s and what has so far been delivered to Padres fans. But I'm going to preach a little bit of patience with this group. This team has way overplayed expectations to this point.
I agree.
I mean, if you think about it, if they stay on this pace, we're about halfway through the season. If this Padres team finishes 10 games over 500, and this is a 92-win baseball team, something like that, by the end of the season, 93-win team by the end of the season, would you turn your nose up at that? Absolutely not.
93 wins?
Well, I'm saying there's 6 wins over 500 at the trade deadline. What's to say that you can't eke a few more wins out if you stay the course? This has been a baseball team, though, and I say this with all due respect to a lot of the great players on this team, and a lot of the players who are more journeymen have played great. This is a team that has been great and also bad. Like, it hasn't been one of those seasons where they've just rode the great middle. This has been a season of like feast or famine. So I'm hoping it's a feast the rest of the way. I'm not promising a 92-win season, but I'm saying if they keep pace, do you have any belief that this team can finish above 90 wins?
Oh, that seems like a tough ask. But look, this is a team that I predicted, I think 77 or 79 wins on the season before the season started. So if you're looking at my barometer of where I was before the season started, I was pretty far down the list. They're 20 games away from a 77-win season.
That's a great point. Yeah, when you really start to count the games left versus how much work needs to be done to achieve that, they would only have to win a third of their games remaining. Now, do you believe they can do that? I mean, and then obviously the further you increase it from there, can they win 25 games to finish out this year? I mean, you have 60 opportunities moving forward. Can you win 25 out of 60? I know that seems like, well, now we're getting closer to half of the games you have left to play, but good teams do that. And the question is are the Padres a good team, or are they going to be a team that falls short of the postseason, or is it going to land somewhere in between? And then it's really a roll of the dice when the postseason begins. The answer to that question is nobody knows, because I don't even think anybody in that clubhouse knows.
Right. Absolutely. Did you go to Comic-Con at all over the past week?
So I did not go to Comic-Con. I know plenty of people who did, including a guest who came in with our vice president of programming, Taylor Jukes, Drew Savage, who's a morning show host up in Canada. He actually made the trip. It was like a nerd voyage for him to go to Comic-Con, and he explained his time there. This year's Comic-Con sounds awesome. Also, we got to catch up with John Fink tomorrow as we do Four Corners News. He was the roving Kogo News correspondent all last week for Comic-Con.
And this is right up his alley.
No,
he's all about it. They're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back to the Marvel universe, except he's not going to be Iron Man. He's going to be Dr. Doom, which seems a little lazy.
A little bit, although, so I did the research because I never remember seeing Tony Stark as Doctor Doom in the comics, but apparently there was one of the spin-offs of the Avengers where in some like odd timeline, he was Doctor Doom, like he became Doctor Doom. So I guess it makes sense, and it brings back Robert Downey Jr. So
which I do love.
All the fans at Comic-Con, when he pulled off the Doom helmet, were going nuts.
Oh, they went nuts.
Who do we thank today, bud?
We thank Joseph. We thank Carrie. We thank the hangers, the bangers, the roadies, the dogs. Congratulations to Joseph and Carrie. Joseph going to Luke Bryan. Carrie going to the Foo Fighters. But that's it, man. And Fletch, I guess.
And Fletch. He helped out a little bit. All right, that's the show. The Herd's next. We'll see you at 3 on 101.5 KGB.